time.
1,000 people freezing their butts off waiting to worship a rat.
Hello and welcome. It's February 2nd and we're going to talk about Groundhog's Day.
It's actually not Groundhog's Day, it's just Groundhog Day, no S to that.
Are you sure?
100%, it's right there.
Yeah, he's right. Okay.
So, anyways, Groundhog Day seems to have kind of like a butterfly effect, or the time loop going through the film. I noticed that it's really easy to compare to tons of other films and shows that I've seen, like 51st Dates, or
Oh yeah.
even Final Girls and things like that.
Edge of Tomorrow?
Yeah. When was the movie again? In 93, 94?
1993.
1993. I don't remember seeing anything happen earlier than that.
Yeah, is this the first time we've actually had a film, at least an American film, that's all about time travel, time loops?
I think so. From what I know, there was a few like Japanese films or Russian films where they played on it, or there were straight like anthology television shows like Amazing Stories that would do an episode about it.
Oh yeah.
But I think this was the first time that it was a feature film in American movie theaters. And I think it's also kind of the broadest one as well. Like, I think everything since then has been, it's Groundhog Day, but there's aliens, or it's Groundhog Day, but you're in a slasher flick. It's like, it's kind of the template that everyone uses from there. And it becomes kind of shorthand for what a time loop movie is.
Yeah, everybody hears Groundhog Day, and then you add that extra element, and they're already on board. They know what to expect.
I feel for the most part, most of the films that I'm thinking of, they follow like that singular day. I think 51st Dates is the only thing that could kind of make an argument that it's not just a singular date, because you're talking about
It is for
brain damage. Yeah, she keeps reliving that single day, but
everyone around her is the one that knows it.
Still
It's
keeps
not
going.
something. It's not an existential crisis for her. It's one for everyone around her.
Yes.
As opposed to like in Groundhog Day when Bill Murray's going through it, everyone else is repeating, and he's the only sane man in a mad world, as opposed to the other way around, where they have to kind of work around her instead of the other way around.
nice. So Groundhog Day just flipped.
And speaking of Bill Murray's character, Phil, same name as the Groundhog, the difference between that film and a lot of the ones we mentioned is his day is more mundane. Edge of Tomorrow, you've got Tom Cruise in like a battlefield. 51st Dates, Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore trying to relive, like the title says, dates. Final Girls that you mentioned.
Yeah.
They're in a horrific situation. Phil's day is living the mundane that we all go through. If you work a 9-to-5 job, you go through the same motions every day. Maybe you go to the same restaurant on Thursday evenings, stuff like that. But his seems almost more horrific than like Edge of Tomorrow, where you're on a battlefield fighting mutants or something. Just having to live the same repetition of the most basic things.
And not just the most basic, but it's like one of his least favorite days.
Yes.
Like he always is complaining about, I've got to go do this again. Or it's encountering, like he wants more than anything to get out of this really boring town, and he's stuck there every day. So it's very, it's not just mundane, but it is like his idea of the worst day you could have.
It's Groundhog Day!
Groundhog time.
1,000 people freezing their butts off waiting to worship a rat.
Hello and welcome. It's February 2nd, and we're here to talk about Groundhog's Day.
No, it's Groundhog Day. No S on it.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah, like I said, like a minute ago.
He's right. Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, just deja vu, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Like Phil in the film?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I guess so. I guess like just thinking you've experienced it before.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's what the character went through in the Groundhog's Day.
Yeah, I mean, initially his first day, I remember him saying it a lot, like, is this a dream? Am I dreaming?
Yeah, and he got more irritated as the day went on. He's already kind of, already there on the first day, but even the second day, just going through it the second time, already started to push him to his limits.
Yeah, it goes kind of fast for him, I know. And I like when you first see him interacting with people, like the second time around, like I think Bill Murray's kind of I think it's one of the more sedate things you see from Murray in his career at that point. I think it was he talked a little bit about wanting it to become a transitioning from more of the screwball characters and things like that. So it was interesting to see his take on reacting to these small moments in a very, I feel, more realistic way than what you would expect from Bill Murray at that point in his career.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's a far cry from like Stripes or Ghostbusters. So.
Or Meatballs.
Or Meatballs, yeah. It's almost more of a realistic portrayal too, I think. I think most of us would be in a similar situation and have a similar reaction to that.
I remember Deja Vu.
What's that? Oh.
What I did notice is that he has that initial, reaction going through the day, like he's living the dream, or is he dreaming? So he starts doing things that are very distinctive of bad Phil, too.
Yeah.
Like, just to I guess, kind of test the waters. That was something I did remember when doing some research about it, was the whole thing with Ramis. Is that how you say his name?
Harold Ramis, the director and writer.
With Ramis and with him going back and forth, like they had a fight, or they had something going on where they weren't speaking to each other.
Yeah.
This was the film that ended their friendship.
This was the film?
This is what
They
did
didn't
it.
speak to each other after this film until right before Ramis' death.
Yep, right on his deathbed.
What I read was that they didn't even really try to speak to each other on the set for this film.
It eventually got to that point, yeah. Ramis often sent like Danny Rubin, the other writer, to talk to Bill Murray. And eventually, I think the point in the film process that broke it was Ramis got so angry and upset with Murray, he even pushed him up against the wall by his collar. And Ramis regretted it ever since, even his daughter's biography, saying, my father was so upset that he got that violent about it, and he just regrets it. He's also confused as to why they stopped speaking, and it's just a terrible moment for both of them.
I was say, because didn't Ramis want Bill Murray to be Phil? Like, he's adamant about him being Phil?
He wrote the part specifically with Murray in mind. If you couldn't get Bill Murray, there was going to be no film. He wasn't going to do it at all.
Because I know there was talks of other people, like Keaton and even Tom Hanks, but Tom Hanks...
Yeah.
Why?
It was more like a studio suggestion, like, well, but here's your second, third choices. But Ramis just wasn't interested. The film may have gotten made still, just maybe not with Ramis.
Groundhog time.
1,000 people freezing their butts off waiting to worship a rat.
Hello and welcome. It's February 2nd, and we're here to talk about Groundhog's Day.
Groundhog Day. There's no S. We covered it right there in front of you. Groundhog Day.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's right. Yeah.
It's a bad Jason Day?
Over and over again, apparently.
Well, speaking about Bad Jason, that reminds me about Bad Phil in the film. Just how he would just blow up. Remember how irritated and agitated he was on the first day? The first cycle, he kind of shoves Ned away, his old chum that's become an insurance salesman, the people that you love. And I think by the anger day, he starts punching him in the face.
Yeah.
I understand how he feels.
Oh, okay. You all right?
Fine.
All right. Fine. We making it through this?
Yep. Let's.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. You're not gonna do what Phil did in the movie, are you? Where he's comes out of his hotel room and he sees the really happy, jolly-go-lucky guy and shoves him up against the wall and says, "Don't mess with me, pork chop."
Wasn't planning to.
Okay, good.
But we'll see.
Reliving the same day over and over.
Groundhog time.
1,000 people freezing their butts off waiting to worship a rat.
Hello and welcome.
No.
It's
No. We cannot keep doing it this way. You go first.
Well, hello. We're here to talk about Groundhog Day.
you mean Groundhog's Day?
No, Groundhog Day.
Groundhog.
Yep.
Oh.
See, right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And I actually like to bring up Phil and the state of the movie where he's trying to do different things to try and change up the day. Instead of the whole waking up, like you hear right at 6 a.m., the Sonny and Cher song coming on.
Oh, yeah.
You know, every day he wakes up, which I think is like at least 12 times in the film. You see the clock and you hear the song.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, at least.
He's waking up and he's realizing that, you know, if he's in the shower at this time or he's doing this, he's going to run into this person in the hallway. He's going to run into the sales guy on the sidewalk. He's going to do this. But, you know, the lady with the flat tire, hey, if I change something else or do something else, will this end it? Will this change it? Like, you know.
Yeah, he goes through that period where it's just change this part, and then maybe we'll have a different reaction to it, and at some point he just starts giving in and just starts having fun with it. He indulges in so many ways.
All those pancakes.
Oh, the pancakes, the angel food cake, which it turns out Remus was not going to have him eat the whole thing at once, but Murray said he can do it. That ended poorly, apparently, after they filmed it. He did it in one go, but you did not want to be on set for after that. He starts finding ways to just have fun. He ends up in jail. And then he hits the point where he starts trying new ways to get out of it by any which way he can, no matter what the means are.
Like when he takes the toaster into the bathtub.
Yeah. And the lady downstairs kind of realizes the electricity flickers, but yet she knows enough, like, oh no, oh dear.
Apparently they did that toaster scene like over 25 times.
With him in the tub?
Yeah, with him in the tub.
Wow.
Murray was not very happy on the set a lot of the times with a lot of the things that he went through and had to do over and over again. And apparently he was really, really cold a lot of the times.
He may have been in character. I can only imagine what it's like just reliving the same thing over and over and over.
Oh, yeah, I imagine that's got to get dull. I mean, knowing what to expect.
Bad case of deja vu.
Yeah. What's that? Oh.
He gets to the point where he just straight up takes the groundhog though at the ring and just like.
Yeah, he kidnaps Phil. The groundhog's got the same name as him, and takes him on a wild police chase that I remember his cameraman thinks the way that it ends, where they drive off the cliff, the cameraman remarks, oh, he'll be okay, it's okay, Rita, it's Phil, he'll be fine, and then it's a fiery explosion, and that's just one of the many, many ways he tries to, I don't know if I want to say end his torment, but that's part of it, just anything he can possibly do to end the cycle itself.
And it never works. Never works. It just keeps happening over and over and over again.
Yeah, he keeps reliving it no matter what.
It's Groundhog Day!
Groundhog time.
1,000 people freezing their butts off waiting to worship a rat.
Hello and welcome. It's February 2nd, and we're here to talk about Groundhog's Day. Hello and welcome. It's February 2nd, and we're here to talk about Groundhog's Day. Groundhog's Day.
There's no S.
Hello and welcome. It's February 2nd. We're here to talk about Groundhog's Day.
It's Groundhog Day!
Groundhog time.
1,000 people freezing their butts off waiting to worship a rat.
Hello and welcome. It's February 2nd, and we're here to talk about Groundhog's Day.
Groundhog Day.
Sorry?
Groundhog Day, no S.
You okay, Jason?
Oh, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine. It just feels like we've been talking about this for years.
Oh.
So kind of like the cycle in the film with Phil and
Right.
how that's heavily debated. I mean, I've seen countless videos where like one video was saying that it easily could take about 34 years. Like they broke down the math and like counted the different sequences.
34 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was one theory.
Yeah, director Harold Ramis had a different idea. It was about almost that, like 40 years.
Yeah, 30 or 40 years. But I think in recent years, like he made the argument saying, oh, it's only about 10 years.
Yeah, so it's a lot shorter.
Repeated the same day.
That's still a lot of years.
Well, I mean, there's some reasons as to why he had to go through that too. Some think it's a religious reason, like maybe Buddhism.
Yeah.
The cycle of rebirth, so you're having to keep reliving every single day.
Yeah, and then there was state of purgatory.
Oh, yes, you need to atone for your sins, before you can ascend, or where you're going.
Yeah, because a great part of the film, like, it's still Phil being just his normal self, thinking that he can just continue to be rude and not make a change, and that's going to make the difference. Is if I don't change, then clearly there's going to be differences made.
He needs to grow.
Yeah.
As a person.
Just keep growing 3,500 times.
Well, eventually he becomes better, but there's got to be a reason behind it. It's up for debate what that is, though.
So just take it one day at a time, I guess.
Yeah, small changes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just a little bit each day.
That's what the inspirational quote would like say is like when you make a change, takes one step, or to make it begins with one step. You gotta slowly make those improvements.
Right.
Groundhog time.
1,000 people freezing their butts off waiting to worship a rat.
Hello and welcome. It's February 2nd, and we're here to talk about Groundhog's Day.
Actually, Sean, it's that's a common misconception. It's actually Groundhog Day. I know a lot of people see it the other way, but that's how the holiday and the movie both are spelled.
Oh, you're right. Oh, well, thank you.
No problem. I was thinking a lot about Groundhog Day and how Phil does eventually start changing the world around him, and it's more of when he starts focusing upon himself instead of, and not in a negative way, but not in what he can get, but in ways that he can help the world around him instead. Instead of like, if you were talking about it in terms of what can I get out of this experience, as opposed to like what can I put into this experience, and it seems like that's where the movie really takes a turn, and he kind of becomes more of the hero instead of the jerk that we're come to expect him to be.
Get that character growth.
Absolutely. It's the arc of the whole movie essentially builds to him contributing instead of taking in everything that he can to try and get ahead, whether it's to date Rita, whether it's to save the old man, whether it's to just have fun with it, like where he talks about like I can do whatever I want and then engage in my eat whatever I want, like I'll never change, I can do it however I want to. That's when he's able to put his himself out into the world and make positive changes by helping all the people around him. Excuse me 1 second, guys. Okay, where were we?
I think we're going to talk about the different reasonings behind Phil's time loop, his cycle. There's a lot of different ideas out there.
What initially caused it? Yeah. I know in the early scripts, they were saying that it was basically like a scorned ex-girlfriend, and she had like a spell book, and it was like done at like 5:59 a.m. because you always see him wake up at 6 a.m. So it's like time kind of thing. So it's like a witch, basically a witch. He messed up big time with a witch. She cast a spell, and then he's in that infinite loop until he changes. Kind of like Beauty and the Beast. Don't judge the book. Don't act like don't be a jerk, and be nice no matter what the case is, and nothing's going to happen to you. But making that tie to Beauty and the Beast, the prince was a jerk, and it's like, well, here, now have a rose. You have to fall in love. You have to make a change, and then it'll break the curse. And that's kind of like what they led with, was she cast the spell, so until Phil became good Phil and genuinely good Phil, it stayed like that.
A witch did it? That's kind of an out there thing, isn't it? Like, I mean, that kind of feels like almost like a kind of like lazy crutch to something like that. Like, what kind of story does that, where it's just like this weird thing's happening, like, oh, a witch did it?
Yeah.
I think that's probably why they kind of took it away, because it just kind of didn't fit in, or became, like you said, it was just like a lazy thing. So we're kind of left with, we don't exactly know what caused it. It's like open to interpretation on what the actual thing is.